Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. What's going on, Deb?
Not much. I can't believe it's already mid-February.
I know. It's really flying by.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously we record these things a week ahead, but yeah, we got Valentine's Day coming up. So if you guys haven't heard yet, make sure you guys go back and listen to our Valentine's Day episode. Hopefully at this point you've already heard it, but if you haven't, it'd be worth checking out. But yeah, it is. Yeah, February is always a weird one because I feel like it gets busy quick with just random things. At least for me and my family, just some different things that come up at the beginning of February, I guess at the end of January, and then throughout February, and then like you said, before you know it, it's just over.
Well, and I feel like January was so long. I feel like it was like a million days long.
Yeah,
And then it becomes February, the shortest month of the year. And I feel like it's going to fly by and it's going to be March soon. And then it's going to be spring break. And then it's going to be summer. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm getting excited talking about this.
Remind me again. I know you've mentioned on this podcast before, and I can't remember if there was anything like concrete. You have big plans this summer,
Um,
or is that not this summer? Are you trying to prep for the following summer?
I had lots of plans last summer. This summer, the only thing on my calendar is like a week in June where I'm just going to go on a family trip to Tahoe.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah. And then I have a bachelorette party to go to at the end of July. That's all I have so far. I think that's also going to be in Tahoe.
Okay. I don't know why I thought this was like a Europe or like out of country
Ugh.
type summer, but
Well,
is that not the plan, or was that not the plan?
I think I talked about it that I wanted it to be the plan, and I think
Sure.
I don't know if I mentioned Ireland. I was supposed There was supposed to be an Ireland trip planned with Log Off again, but then that got pushed to October, which I was like, I can't do that. Like that's school. Like it needs to be over a break, like
Sure.
spring break or summer break. If it's going to be like a 2 week trip or something like that. I'm like, I can't just take 2 weeks off of work and unless I'm retiring this year, I'm like, screw it. Like I'm going to take it off, fire me. I'm leaving anyway. But
Sure.
I'm a long ways away from. So I'm like,
Yeah.
so
The
so
struggle
no.
of a teacher, huh?
Yeah, me and a couple of friends, we've talked about going out of the country. I just don't know where yet. But I'm also now in a position where I'm paying tuition. So
That's a good point.
back at school, right? So now I'm like, okay, like I am working enough extra jobs that I can pay for it, but I'm not saving as much. So
That's right.
yeah. So now I'm just kind of like, meh, let's see what kind of maybe close by trips I can squeeze in.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess it's still taking a second for me to remember that you're doing the class,
Mhm.
and that a lot of those conversations about the summer and vacation took place prior to you deciding to do that. So yeah, that makes sense. That's a big it's a big change. Sends you in a little bit of a different direction.
Right. So, and I mean, I can always take time off. The cool thing is like I can pick when I want to take classes. If I want to take 8 weeks off and not take any classes, I can.
Sure.
Um, so far the plan is to take classes over the summer, which means I have to pay for it. Or maybe at the last minute, I'm like, no, I want the summer off. I don't want to do any classes. I'll pick it up when, back in the fall. So we'll see. I'm okay changing my mind at the last minute. So
Yeah. And again, I apologize if you've already mentioned this, but what's how long? Or I
So
guess not how long. How many units and all that, and
ooh, I think it's 60 units.
okay, so it's
60,
not a small amount.
no. Yeah, Yeah, 60 units. And it's classes are 8 weeks long and you can take one or you can double up, but the program mentioned that you can't complete it in less than 2 years. So they
Hmm.
want you to spend at least 2 years on this, but you can't take more than 7 years also. So they give you a
Oh,
time, right? And the plan that I want to do, I'm hoping to get it done in 2.5 years. But it's good for me to know that like I can take time off or take longer if I want to also. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Excuse me. Um,
So so
Interesting.
so I'll just see. I'm just going with it.
Yeah, have you? Because I took a couple of psychology classes. I
Mhm.
took one in high school, and that was really cool. That was actually honestly one of the best psychology classes I've taken.
Mhm.
It was a senior class, and just it was funny. It was actually taught by my history teacher from my I think sophomore year, if I remember correctly. But he also taught psychology for the seniors, and it was a super creative class. I think that's what I enjoyed so much about it. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you before, but one of the things that he did for a decent, it was only like it was what like I mean, my school was doing the block
Yeah,
system, so it was like half a semester, and then you switched into something else. But
yeah.
so for the majority of this class, he actually used like a story, like a fictional story, and he would tell, it was like, hey, it was about a kid who went to the school that we were at, and it kind of followed this kid's journey, but like he was teaching psychological principles and um things through that story, but like you were fascinated by it. Like the whole class was just like hooked, because like, oh, what's going to happen to Timmy, that's part of the story. But as he was going through, it was like, oh well, Timmy had a mental breakdown, and this is kind of what triggered it, da, da, da. And then like you were following the story while also learning these. It was a really creative way of teaching the class. And so it was a cool class. I've always enjoyed that class. I think I took one or two more in college. I think I took a social psychology class, which was really interesting. Um,
Sorry.
that was a weird class too, because it was one of those. I don't know if you ever did this in college, but one of those TV classes. Were you ever a part of one of those TV classes?
Like film?
No, no, no. It was one of the ones that you could watch. Like there was a certain channel that you had to like
Oh,
what I mean, go to. But I was actually in the class, so like it was a hybrid. So you could either register for the TV version where you're watching on TV at a specific time, or you were in the class. But it was weird because we would sit there and she'd give a countdown, kind of like this: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She's like, "Oh, welcome everybody online. Welcome to everybody in the class." Like it was like a production. It was like I was part of like Ellen or something like that.
yeah. That's what we had to do for COVID when it was
Oh,
when
sure,
I swear that was exact. Like I just got
sure.
like a flashback. So
Oops.
yeah, we did. Yeah, right. PTSD. After when it was like when it was hybrid. So when
Sure.
we did distance learning for 3/4 of the school year, and then finally, for some reason, our state or whoever, I don't know who to blame for this, governor. I don't know if it was like U.S. wide. I can't remember. But oh yeah, let's 3 more months of the school year left. Let's do hybrid.
Yeah.
Let's have, if you want to go back to school, cool. Oh, and teachers, you're going to be online also. So we did the same thing. 5, 4, 3. Hey, hi everyone online. Hi everyone here. Like it was
Yeah.
so easy.
Yeah, little bit of a different situation. This one, a lot easier to manage college age students. But yeah, don't envy that. You were in the side of things that was difficult for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Ugh.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it was even a more dumb idea than that was it's like, oh, and we're gonna play all the sports in 3 months.
Oh yeah.
Fall, winter, spring. We're just gonna do all of it.
Yeah. You were still doing the
I
AD
still,
stuff?
yeah, I hated my life. It was
Yeah, I bet. I
horrible.
bet.
It was so bad. It was not.
Yeah, not a fun time. I mean, the funny thing is that's how we got started doing this uh
Right.
online or remotely. It was because of all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
and here we are still doing it.
We
So,
are. It
yeah.
works.
For this though, it's been great. I know not everybody enjoys doing the interviews this way, but for us and our schedules, it's actually worked out great. And it is funny. I looked back for something the other day when we first started, which is kind of crazy because it's February, and you and I started podcasting together about 6 years ago, around
Mhm.
this time. I think our very first podcast ever was released in I think it was February
Mhm.
2019 or January. I guess it was at the very end of January, 2019, which is pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
Um, but yeah, it's very strange looking back at some of our early stuff because the quality is much different. It's much worse, and it sounds terrible. It sounds like the audio is just going to like a tractor wheel. It's like, so it's much better now. Things have gotten much better.
Yeah. Well, we can like this way we can have guests on that are out of state. Like it's just a lot more, I think, doable just all together. And we
Yeah,
know how to work.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. So, anyways, oh, and what's crazy too? I was putting together. So, again, if you guys just kind of understand our timeline, we're recording this on February 11th.
Mhm.
So you guys will get this on February 18th. But I just put out our Valentine's week episode, which it didn't hit me until I was putting it together last night. So the Valentine's Day episode is 213. We were one episode away from having it be 214, which would have been crazy. Like the odds of that happening would have been insane. We were just one off. We were one off. So this is actually 214, and so
Wow.
it was just one of those weird. I did a little bit of a double take. I'm like, oh, that's weird. It's like one of those weird number things. Like that could have been perfect. 214 Valentine's Day episode,
Yeah.
but we missed it by one.
Dang it. So
So shout out to any of you guests who canceled on us over the last few years. That was your fault.
and no, it's just an anti-Valentine's Day episode. It's perfect.
Sure, there you go. It's a little bit of both. It was really tough describing it in the description. Like, how do I describe this thing? We talked about a bunch of stuff. Some of you like it, some of you don't. There you go. Enjoy this episode.
Yeah, I thought it was fun talking about, different
Yeah,
Valentine's. It was cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
oh, go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just so I'm looking at Nala right now, and she's passed out with no toy. Like usually when I record, she's
What did you
like,
put in that Kong?
I put peanut, I put her peanut butter in there like normal. But normally
Sure,
when we record, I give her the Kong, but then I have a bully stick up here ready to go because then she's like pacing around me and around my island around here and just going back and forth and looking at me and making noises, and I have to mute. So I have treats ready for her to entertain her because I think for the most part she just doesn't like that I'm talking to something and not looking at her. Like she knows I'm not. I don't know. She knows. She just knows I'm podcasting, and she's like, "What are you doing?" But
yeah.
right now
She's not a fan of our podcast.
she's passed out right now, and it's because I took her to work today. So she's
Ah,
tired. So I knew this would happen. I was like, I think she's just going to need her Kong, and that's it. She kind of did a little whiny pace for a second here, but I'm just like, how when you're trying, when you have kids, do your kids ever
sure,
get like cranky at first, like they're fighting nap time, and then
sure.
like they're going to pass out in any second now, and then they're just out. They're
Yeah,
just getting cranky.
I can't relate to that part too much. They're little fighters, so if they're cranky, they'll fight through that part of it. It's not necessarily an instant pass out, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. That's the hope that happens, but rarely does it.
Well, she did a little like pacing right here, and then she laid down, started chewing on her squeak toy. I had to mute my mic, and then all of a sudden I'm looking, and she's just conked. She's passed out. So she's tired. She came to work with me today. I brought her to work a few times in the fall, just like still trying to get her to adjust when she was new, right? So I got
Sure,
her in the summer, brought her to summer school with me, so she wasn't by herself in my apartment all day. Like I just didn't know how I was trying to help her adjust. Like didn't want her to freak out. I didn't know if she was gonna freak out and tear up my furniture. Anyway, she doesn't. By the way, she's really good. And then in the fall, I brought her like once a week, and I'm like, you're gonna have to stay home, and she's I have a little doggy cam in here. She sleeps all day. She doesn't. She's a total napper, but I
yeah,
have to like walk her when I get home anyway.
sure,
Um, but now that it's spring, I'm like, you're not coming to work. You don't need to come to work with me. You're good. I'm good. I feel better that she's adjusted, and it's a pain in the ass to bring her to work anyway. Like I have to. So it's like a child. I have to pack a bag for her. I have to have her treats. I have to have her to go like water dish. I have to have a blanket for her because I'll put her. I won't take her with me to like my PE class and teach and have her in my like her with her leash on. I put her. We have a back room in our office that I can
okay,
shut the door, and she could just stay back there. So
nice,
anyone who comes in our office, and that door's locked, so
sure,
she's completely safe back there, and I have her blanket back there, and she'll sleep. But on my prep period, I'll take her out and stuff, and I took her on a run today. Anyway, so she's kind of in and out of that room, and I let kids come see her. So she gets a little bit of nap time. I don't know if she sleeps, how much she sleeps back there while I'm
sure,
teaching. But yeah, so she's tired. But anyway, I brought her to work with me today because yesterday yesterday was my laundry day. We had school off yesterday. I'm like, great, I can clean my whole apartment, scrubbed it, just kind of cleaned it was just a cleaning day. And it was
nice,
I had like one load of clothes, but I have I wanted to do my bed sheets. I wanted to do all the blankets around I just wanted to wash everything.
sure,
So did my clothes first, and then I have a giant, like Costco size, fluffy blanket that I sleep on top of.
Okay.
So I don't sleep on sheets. I don't like them. Ever since I got this blanket, I know it's weird, but ever since I got this blanket, I got it. I can't remember when I got it, but I remember it was cold out, like it was winter, and I just slept on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so warm and cozy. And it's like soft, it's like velvety feeling. Um, but so I did that like 5 years ago. So I've been sleeping on it ever since. So yeah, I don't use sheets. I sleep on that, but it's a big, thick, giant blanket. And so I wash it, and I have a front load, full size washer, stick it in there, whatever. Um, so it's like my washer is draining, and then all of a sudden it's making all these noises and it's flashing codes. And I'm like, great. Right. And so I'm like, cool. And if the door is jammed, I tried turning my breaker on and off. Turning my breaker off, the door was still like locked. It was like locked in, like nothing. I couldn't open it. I was like, "Oh, are you kidding me?"
That
And
sucks.
my whole bed was stripped. Like all the everything else is on the ground. My pillowcases, my comforter. Nala has already like burrowed herself in it because I don't care if she does because I'm like I'm gonna wash it right now anyway. She so anyway, my bed is stripped except for my like protector. I had that got washed and dried, and so that was on top of it. So I'm like, okay,
Sure.
that's anyway. It's stuck in there. Great. I called maintenance. They're like, we can't come out till tomorrow. I'm like, cool. I'm like, it's sitting in my washer, soaking wet. Cool.
Dang.
So yeah. So the thing with coming into an apartment is that they know I have Nala, but they want the animals secured. And I'm
Sure.
like, don't crate her. I'm
Sure.
not I'm not crating her while I'm at work all day. I'm not doing
Sure.
it. So I'm like, so she came to work with me today so that they could come in and fix it, right?
Nice.
And so last night, it looks like a homeless person slept on my bed because there's just like a random blanket and like one pillow, like
Yeah.
it's not made up. Anyway, sorry, there's a point to what I'm saying. So I was listening to this morning on the way to work, I was listening to a Girls Gotta Eat podcast,
Okay.
and they were talking about socks. You know how like sometimes you just are missing socks out of
Oh
your
yeah. Sure.
like where the hell did this sock go?
They just
Like
have they grow little feet and walk away.
I swear. And so one of the girls was saying, no, for real, like in the dryer, it'll get stuck like in the back or
Mm-hmm.
something or whatever. It'll get trapped. And that's why. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so crazy. And so when I got home today, there was a maintenance note on my counter and they said it's fixed. There was a sock blocking
Oh
the,
man.
the water pump, like
Yeah.
in the water pump, and that's why it like stopped draining and wouldn't open. And I was like, "Are you serious?" I just listened to a podcast about socks. I started cracking up. I don't know where it is, and I think they tossed it. I have no idea.
That's
So,
funny.
how
Man.
socks get
Weird timing.
happen? Is it because they're so like I don't, whatever. So I guess, anyway, socks, this is a real thing, people, if you didn't know. Socks can get stuck in pipes and water blockages and stuff. I don't know, in your lint trap or whatever.
Yeah, that does make sense. That makes sense. But there's not really much you can do about it. Because I mean, is that one of those things where they don't want you to really mess with it yourself?
Yeah. Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. And I wouldn't know what to do anyway. Like all I know is I always know to turn things off and back on. And I'm like, did that work?
Sure.
No. Okay, now I need to call somebody. So
Man.
yeah,
It's
so
that stupid
there's no
sock.
way I would have known how to do that. But this is also why I like living in an apartment because
Sure.
they come fix it and they figure it out and they're like, all right, all done, taken care of. So
Nice.
I'm rewashing my blanket right now. It's getting washed again.
That's good. That's good. What did you do with it when it was all wet? Or did you
Well,
just leave it in there until they got there?
I couldn't take it out; it was stuck in
Oh,
there.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess the question would be like, did they just put it off to the side or something?
No, they just left it in there.
Oh, okay. So they
Yeah,
didn't
I
have to
don't.
move it out.
Yeah, like what do you do? Like, or like, I guess I could have told them, hey, but I wouldn't. I was gonna rewash it anyway because it was in there all day, all night.
Sure.
I'm like, what's the point? Like, I'm gonna rewash it anyway. So
It's probably best at that point.
yeah, so they left it in there. It was kind of it was like damp, but you can kind of it started to already get that musty smell on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Sure.
it's getting washed again.
That makes sense. So, okay, well, good. I'm glad you got it fixed. I'm glad it wasn't anything worse than that. It's just
What?
a sock
It was.
blockage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everyone, your socks can just mess up your washer and dryer apparently.
It's just one of those little things that can it has the ability to get in there and then just cause enough cause enough cause enough problems to really mess things up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so going back to the sleeping arrangement. So at what point did you realize that you didn't want to sleep on sheets?
When I got that blanket,
But
I don't know.
what made you do that in the first place though?
I don't remember. I don't remember if someone got it for me or as a gift or if I saw it because those soft like blankets at Costco, like they're just plush, they just feel so soft.
Sure.
I don't know. I just decided to sleep on it one day. I was like, this is gonna be, but I've never really liked. I mean, like obviously, like I would sleep on sheets, but I don't like the coldness feeling of sheets.
Interesting.
Like when you are on it, like
Sure.
like it's like I'm freezing. It's like this, but this blanket, this blanket is like always warm. Not warm like a heated blanket, but
Yeah, just like naturally it's just a warmer thing than sheets. Okay.
exactly. Yeah, I would always hop into bed and just be freezing instantly because of
Interesting.
coldness of the sheet on my skin. And it would
Hmm.
always take me forever to warm up. So I always just sleep with blankets.
Okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, no judgment here. I was just
Mhm.
curious because that seems like a weird thing just to one day
Yeah.
decide like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this. But yeah, the coldness of the sheets. But so you never did like the flannel sheets,
What's funny is I use flannel sheets for my clients for massage. So,
the same
um,
ones that you use. That'd be weird. Just like
no,
every time take them off your bed, it's like, all right, time to massage.
yeah, here you go. It's for you guys. I
Yeah,
use flannel sheets for my clients, not like silk sheets. Silk sheets for massage are the worst. Um,
I feel like that sends a weird message.
wow. Well, some people use them. Like they,
Oh no, I believe it. I
yeah,
believe it. But like, I mean, I'm not trying to be gross here, but like I do feel like that. I mean, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't know. It's not
I
my
don't
world. What do I know?
I just I don't know. I just never have been a fan of sheets, so I sleep on a blanket. It's very. I got. I've
No,
gotten a
not
few.
strange.
I've gotten a few people to do it actually. Like Kaylin sleeps on a blanket now. That same blanket, she got it from Costco, and she's like, "It is so comfortable." And I'm like, "I'm telling you, it is so
Interesting.
comfortable to sleep on a blanket."
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just
Like,
weird. Yes.
you know, what you need to come up with. You need to create like blankets that are actually sheets.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible. I'm sure the technology's out there.
Yeah.
Just get it
But
so that it covers the whole bed.
yeah. But I mean, some people probably run like hot like in a bed and maybe that wouldn't be comfortable for them like they
Sure.
instantly start sweating like I don't know, it works for me. So I always like my fan's always on though, like my room's always cool.
Sure.
So I don't know. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
No, it sounds pretty comfortable. Um,
it is, it's like sleeping in a cloud.
yeah. See, the sheets that we have are, I forgot the name of them. Oh, Sheiks, Sheex. And like the idea is it kind of, you can use them all year round and they are cool or warm. Like it kind of adjusts to your body temperature. I really like them. Um, but yeah, I mean, they do get a little chilly when you first get in there sometimes.
Well, and maybe I just never had the right sheets. I don't know, like maybe if I were to try different ones, but I'm just so addicted to my blanket now. I'm just like, I'm cool, this is very comfortable.
Sure. So is that a move you do at the like a hotel?
No,
You just suffer.
I'll just suffer through it. I just hop into. It's fine. I can sleep in sheets, like, but
Sure.
I like how my bed is set up.
But you could. I mean, I guess it depends on where you're going and how you're traveling. But like if you took a road trip somewhere and you had the space, you could toss your blanket in there
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
then be much more comfortable at the hotel.
I know that's true.
You don't want to use the hotel blanket.
I'm so I was in Disneyland this past weekend.
Oh yeah, I wanted to chat with you about that.
Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah, I went with one of my friends, and she and I the first night we stayed in a hotel, and then the next night we actually were staying in a timeshare with some other people, so much nicer than the hotel we got. But yeah, I hotel sheets, I have to not think about it for too long because I've seen too many shows, too many. Of course, everyone knows I watch true crime. I've seen too many things where they turn the black light on. I can't. And I don't know. I don't trust who washed these sheets. So the way I slept that first night at the hotel, and I never sleep like this. I had full on legging, like I had pants on. I don't sleep with long pants on. I get
It's wearing
that's
jeans.
right. I slept with leggings,
Yeah.
socks over my leggings, slept in a hoodie, never sleep in sweatshirts, and I put my hoodie over my head. So
Geez, it sounds like you're on the run.
I had nothing. I didn't want any of my body touching the sheets.
Yeah, that sounds like someone who's just ready to run at any point. Like, I
It
know
was
they're coming to get me in no time. You were wearing your shoes too?
no, I had socks on though. No, I know, right?
Like your purse over your shoulder, like
I
a
just
backpack on?
I just didn't have gloves on. That's the only thing. And then my face was like, I didn't want even my hair to touch the pillow, nothing. So I was like,
What kind of place were you staying at?
it's just a hotel. It's just normal.
That's not what it sounds like.
Well,
Sounds
I
like
mean,
roaches took your bags to your room for you.
well, no, it was, I mean, it wasn't like a 5-star inside, hotel. Like this is LA. So it's like Anaheim right next to Disneyland. So we just
Sure.
kind of a like just in the middle, like something, I don't know, 3-star, 4-star, whatever. But kind of like similar to a Motel 6, like that type of
Okay.
hotel, like whatever. We're like, it's just for one night. We're gonna be
They
in the
leave the lights on for you.
yeah. No, I just like yeah. So I from head to toe, I just covered up. I just try not to think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Unless
Uh,
I'm in a bougie, like 5-star hotel, like expensive, then I don't really worry about it. But
sure.
anything under 5-star, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't. This is all I could afford right now. I don't know what
Yeah.
these. I don't know what they did to the. I don't know.
Interesting. But you feel like a timeshare is better?
Yeah, I think so. The
Hmm.
well, so it was there was 8 of us staying there. So there were 3 bedrooms, and me and my friend, we offered to be like we were on the pull-out couch. So we undid the couch. The sheets that we found were in like a closet, but they were like wrapped in like a zip thing.
Sure.
So and they were folded and everything. They were nice. They seemed clean. They looked clean. They smelled clean. And then we just put the sheets on there. Yeah, that seemed way cleaner, to be honest.
Okay.
And this timeshare was nice. It was like a 3-bedroom apartment. It was big. Like it was just a much nicer place than
So
the
yeah,
hotel.
the picture you're painting, yeah, it sounds like it. I'm gonna be honest. The
That
first hotel did not motel. It sounded pretty rough.
yeah, and we kind of had to do that last minute. We thought we were going to be in the timeshare the first night, but she found out she's like, "Ooh, I just found out that timeshare is not available till the next night."
Hmm.
So that's why we had to we had to make a decision. We're like, well, we either need to fly out early the next morning, do Disney all day, and then stay the night at the timeshare, or we stick with our flight the night before, find a motel to crash out really quick, and then the next night. So we just made it. We're like, nope, we don't want to get up at 3 in the morning and then do Disney all day that day. That's going to be miserable.
Yeah, that'd be
But
tough.
we flew down there, so it was just we just had to make a choice.
Yeah, there you go. That's what happens sometimes on those trips. You gotta make some choices, some tough choices.
Yeah, yeah, the timeshare was way nice. Yeah, any timeshare I've ever been in, that my friends have or whatever has always been really nice, really clean. Like I could live there. Like I'm like, oh, this could be my apartment.
Hmm.
Like this is nice as where like it feels homey. It feels nice. So
Sure.
yeah, no complaints there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So you were at Disneyland for 2 days?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, 2 days. It was really
Both
fun.
parks or just one park?
We did Disney the first day and California Adventure the next day.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Cool.
It was a little drizzly the first day at Disneyland, but then the sun came out the next day at California Adventure. So
It's honestly I've been there once and it was rainy, and if you can kind of withstand the rain a little bit, it's actually not a bad thing as far as the crowdedness.
well, and we kind of prepared, like we had like gear and stuff, and like yeah, people, the locals,
Gear.
like
Kind of
like
gear, are you hiking? What kind of
rain.
gear are you bringing?
Like I have shoes that like boots that are like waterproof that I wear out in the rain. So they're not
Nice.
rain boots, but they're just shoes that are. So I had those on. I'm like, let's go. And then I
There you
had my
go.
rain jacket on. I'm like, we're just whatever. And then my friend, she's had a sweatshirt. She's like, I don't care. I'm ready to go. She's
See,
like, I'll
there
go.
you go. I
We were
did
just
the parka before. Parkas are great.
yeah. See,
Or not parka, poncho. Excuse me, poncho. I didn't bring a full on parka. I
I was
don't own one of those. A poncho though, like the cheap REI
like,
ponchos are great.
you could get a bag of ponchos on Amazon for like $10, like a huge, like tons of them.
Yep,
And it's like they're like wrapped in this. You can like unwrap it. You could wear it once. You could throw it away. You could use it again. Whatever. Like those. I brought those one time when I went to Disneyland a few years ago. I brought a couple of those because I didn't know if we wanted to go on one of the water rides.
sure.
Because it's like I am not going to be soaking wet around Disneyland. I did it when I was 10. I didn't care when I was 10. I'm a 37-year-old woman. I'm not doing it.
It's
So
yeah, different experience for sure.
yeah, yeah. I didn't bring ponchos this time, and we didn't go on any water rides this time.
Good
I don't
call.
want to go around wet. I'm not
Good
doing it.
call. Yeah. Do you have a? I don't think we've talked too much about Disneyland. Do you have a favorite ride on in each park?
So hands down, California Guardians of the Galaxy is my favorite.
Yeah.
Hands down. I'll be in line for that one all day long.
What was the longest wait for that one?
Not too bad. Like maybe almost an hour.
It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. It wasn't. And one time the wait time said 80 minutes, but we really got on in like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like it was nothing. It was great. And then we got a fast pass for one of we did it 4 times that day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So it was great.
I think I told you we went this past summer, and yeah, not the summer is tough. It's not like I've said this before. I'm married to a teacher now, so the times you get to go are a little bit more restricted. And I'll tell you what, summer sucks.
Mhm.
And we did not, because obviously we're with little kids, so we didn't go on that one. But we passed by, and at one point it was maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and the wait time for that one on the board as we passed by was uh, basically 4 hours. Yeah,
What?
basically 4 hours. It might have been like 3 hours and some like change, but like it was pushing 4. Like it was just insane.
Oh my
It's like
god.
that's like half your day.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
No, that's too long.
it's way too long. So yeah, the almost an hour is great. Good for you.
Yeah. They changed something that changed for me that I didn't that so the last time I was there, which was a year and a half ago, I think. Anyway, so you know how you can buy the Genie Pass or it's called Lightning Lane Pass now? So
Sure.
like it used to be called Fast Pass back in the day before COVID, which was a great idea.
Yeah.
Here's the let me tell you the evolution of this. So
Buckle up.
the Fast Pass came out, I don't know when, a long time ago. You had your physical ticket in your hand before things went digital, right? And you took the Fast Pass boot ticket things were like literally stationed at the ride. So if I wanted a Fast Pass for Guardians, I would take my physical ticket and like insert it into the Fast Pass box right outside the ride, and it would spit out a ticket saying come back at this time and this is when you can get your next one. Great.
Sure.
So you had to physically go to the ride to get it. And there was no limit to anything except for it said you can't get a ticket until this time.
Yeah.
That's it. Then you just wait till that time, then you go get another ticket somewhere else. Great system. Loved it. Then it evolved to only on your phones, Genie Pass, and you pay for it. I'm like, seriously, Disney? Really? You don't have enough money?
I know it's
Okay.
insane.
But they can. They can charge, $20 for a beer there too. They can do whatever they want.
It's
And
true.
I will pay for it because I did.
It's true as well.
Spent $50 on lunch there. It's crazy. But anyway, so the Genie Pass came out. I think it was like $20 and same thing, but just digital, right? You just click instead of walking over to the ride, but then it says you can't get another pass until this time.
Sure.
Right. So good. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I paid for it, paid $20 for it, whatever. That's cool. The only limit was that you had to wait for a certain time, right? But you can get as many, I can get like 4 fast passes that day to Guardians if I wanted to. I could get 2 for this. Like I could get as many as I want with whatever ride I want. Okay.
Sure.
Well, Going there this weekend, they changed it to Lightning Lane Pass, $36. I'm like, seriously, Disney? Okay. Okay. And an additional,
If you're listening only, that little pause was a disgust pause on Deb's behalf. She's not happy.
but yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I have a few. I'm like, I get it. Like that's going to deter people from getting it. So they're maybe trying to regulate that a little more. I
Yeah,
don't know. But also, I'm like, people, you're at Disney, you're going to spend money. People are still going to buy it probably, which they are, which
sure,
I am.
sure,
That's me. Hi,
sure.
it's me.
But you're not happy about it.
And the problem is me. I mean, it's Disney. So
It's the
yeah, no,
happiest place on earth, but you're still a little irritated.
a little irritated. Yeah. So 36. And what I found out what they also changed was so I'm going to pay $36 for this Lightning Lane pass and you can use it all day until the park closes, but in the fine print, you can only use it, you can't use it more than once on a certain ride, on a ride.
Mm,
So if I've already used it for Guardians, I can't use it. That's it.
you're done for the day.
For Guardians. Yeah.
Yep.
Or if I use it on Indiana Jones, I'm done for the day. It was so irritating to find that out. So like when I tried to do another fast pass for Guardians, it says, "Oh no, like you can't." It like wouldn't let me. So my friend that I went with, Allie, she was looking at the fine print and she's like, "Oh look, it says." The way they worded it was you can only use it once on a ride.
Man.
Many rides as you want that allows for it, but only one time. You can't repeat it. And I'm like, that is bullshit. Like, what? So I don't know if they're trying, I don't know if Disney's like trying to limit because then people will overcrowd the fast passes and then it becomes the fast pass lines are just as long as the regular lines. I don't know. I don't know what the
Sure.
rationale is for that. But anyway, it's getting a little more and more stingy, but okay. All right, Disney.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is insane. It is insane how expensive all of it is. And like you said, it's one of those things where people will pay for it, and so they're able to charge as much as they want and how they want as well. So it is a bummer because it's very expensive.
I will say that so we went to on California Adventure Day. They were doing they were celebrating the Lunar New Year.
Okay.
And they had a thing like a festival kind of. It's called like a sip and savor pass. So basically, they had all kinds of special food stands up, like not just a hot dog cart or a churro cart. It was like here's a dumpling cart, or here's a chow mein, or fried rice cart or whatever. Like here's a Korean barbecue wing cart. Like it was okay. So they have those, and what you could do is you can get this pass and you spend like $40 on it or 40 something bucks on it, and it's good for six items.
Oh,
so
nice.
You go up and you can say I want this, you give them your pass, they scan it. Well, each item, when you go to the cart and look how much it costs, each item is like almost $10.
Wow.
So like, oh shit, that's a good deal.
That's pretty good.
So that was really cool. We enjoyed that very much. I'm like, that was our food for the day basically.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, that was a pretty good deal, because if you're just gonna eat at the park all day, like get that pass. Like you might as well.
Sure.
I ate so much this weekend at Disneyland. So much food.
Well, the one you posted about, I commented. It looked delicious. It was like a chicken sandwich and a taco or something.
Yeah. So that was that was our meal. That was our meal before the lunar.
Gotcha.
Food, which I think we could have done. I definitely could have done without having that meal and just doing the Lunar New Year's food.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, I couldn't even eat my last dish that I got. I was like, I can't do it. Like, I know I paid for it. I can't do it. Like, I'm going to be sick. So anyway, So that dish that we got there was at this restaurant called, I think you pronounce it Pym, Pym.
Okay.
And it's right outside of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
It's kind of got this concept of food is like just weird sizes of food. So the chicken sandwich, the fried chicken was huge. Like
it was pretty big.
But the little bun was like tiny, like a slider.
Interesting.
It was supposed to look funny.
Yeah.
And then the taco thing we had was called like the not so little taco salad. So it looked like a giant taco, but inside of it was a taco salad actually.
Oh, that's funny. That's actually, I know what you're talking about. That's the place with like the giant pretzels.
Oh, that pretzel is huge. Could
Yeah, it's
feed
pretty
that
big.
people. So the food there is good, and the portions are actually good for like how much they're charging.
Sure.
Like this isn't bad, and they have beer there, so it's my favorite place at the park.
There you go.
They have really
There
good
you
beer.
go.
They have a full bar and stuff, so it's fun. So we had that first, and then we got our lunar New Year's pass, and that's all I ate that day because that's how I was so stuffed.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you did you did a good job on the food side of things. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. I'm recovering still for sure.
So, you know what's weird to me? Um, and again, I hope doesn't apply to anybody out there that listens to our podcast, but if it does, I apologize ahead of time. So in that area, that like Avengers area, obviously, you go to different areas around the park, and you have the characters, you have like the little Disney characters, Mickey Mouse, all of his buddies, princesses, things like that. I want your thought on this. Does it seem a little bit weird on the California Adventure side when you go to the Avengers area? You have some of the characters that are basically like they're real people, right? Like they're not in costume. I mean, they're in costume, but like you can see their face.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Black Widow comes to mind as one of them, and I think there's another. I'm gonna be honest. I'm talking specifically like the female characters,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit weird because hey, do your thing, but a couple of times when I passed by there, you saw like a line of grown men waiting to take a picture with this woman. At a certain point, that's like it feels weird. I get it. If you're with your kid, that makes sense. Like if a kid runs up, but like when you have like a full line of grown men waiting to take a picture with this woman, you know, I'm not gonna be gross about this whole thing, but I think we understand what I'm trying to say. Like it just seems a little strange. But I don't know. Am I wrong on that? How do you feel about that?
No. Well, I mean, how much time do we have? Can I pick on your species or what? Like, it's just
I
men
mean, I
or she?
brought it up because here's the thing. I don't feel the same way. Like if you had a grown man that wanted to take a picture with Mickey Mouse, like
Yeah.
that doesn't bother me. That's like a fun thing. It's more specifically some of these because I mean, I don't think they do it with the princesses. I think they do it specifically with these Marvel characters
Yeah.
because they're used to seeing them in these movies.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. It seems weird to me. I think some of them get a little too excited, and I think that's weird. But that's just me.
Yeah. Well, I
It's like
mean,
Iron Man's right there. Go take a picture with him.
they have crushes on these female superheroes,
Correct. That's why it's
right?
weird.
So I mean, you don't see. I don't know. Do you see the men lining up? Is that what you just said? You don't see them lining up for the princesses? Like,
I don't think they do it with the princesses as much. You know what I
I feel
mean?
like that would be weirder. I think
It
if
would
it's just
be yeah, it would definitely be stranger. So I
for the
understand there's a disconnect there, but
yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, I can. They're probably like, oh, dude, she's hot. Go take a picture with her.
I would
In the movie, she's hot here. Go take a picture with her.
that's
I
that's
think,
a great voice. That's how I envision it in my head as well.
yeah, that's how you guys sound. Like that's
And I feel like there's got to be some of those. If you have a line of say there's mixed in, it's not just like a line of 10 guys, but say there's 10 guys mixed throughout. I would love to know how many of the guys in their head, just like maybe it's really far back there, but somewhere back there, they think if I can just have a conversation with this woman, like I think I could impress her. You know what I mean? Like it may not be at the forefront, but like I bet you someone's like, just give me a shot. Just give me a
yeah,
shot.
yeah, I guess,
10
yeah,
second picture. I can impress this woman. There's times where I wonder.
yeah. Well, it was so funny. You know what we saw. What we just thought it was really interesting. We saw only adults lined up for this certain character.
Okay.
It. So have you seen Inside Out?
Yes. Well, yeah. I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one.
Okay, I mean I know what it's about. It's about like the emotions and stuff, and the characters are based off emotions. I haven't really seen it, but
Sure.
character that is anger,
Sure.
red fire, whatever. Okay, that guy was out,
That's
and
funny.
it was only adults in the line. It was, we were done. We were like, look, we're
That
like,
makes
there's
sense.
one kid in line, right? So it was just,
They can relate to that one a little bit more.
yeah. We thought that was, I thought that was really funny. So
That's
that was
funny.
like the observation, I think, when I like for like in that sense of like we saw just adults, both men and women, lined up for to take a picture with anger.
Yeah, and see that I would never think twice about that. Like it's funny. That
That's
is
funny.
funny that it's all these adults that want to take a picture with anger. I think, like I said, I think they can probably relate to that emotion a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. That's
Yeah.
fun. You know.
Um, Disney does a really good, just speaking of like the Marvel characters and stuff, like
Yeah.
you said. So, like Black Widow specifically, like you said, so that's played by Scarlett Johansson, right?
Yeah.
I think there has to be some type of psychological, like guys are like, "Ooh, that's Scarlett Johansson." Like, oh my god, like I don't know. I'll read my book some more. I'll get back to you later. But like,
That's one of those things I don't think I need to know. I think I'm pretty well set with where I'm at with this whole thing, and I think it's just, I understand what they're doing.
so what they also do back there by Guardians of the Galaxy, like where the whole Pym restaurant is too, and there's a section where they do live action mini shows.
Sure.
They're really cool. And then,
Yeah, they do a great job.
yeah, most of them are like up high, like on the balcony, so
Yeah.
that people can't really interact with them. They're just looking up and watching, and there's music and there's like the voices
Right.
of the actual, whatever. It's like they're acting obviously, like it's really cool. Well, I look up and I'm don't really know. I don't watch those movies, so my friend had to tell me that's Black Widow. That's played by, and I was like, oh, is that Scarlett Johansson, right? Like I know some of the
Sure.
popular ones, and she's like, yeah, and I'm watching her, and I'm like, that really looks like Scarlett Johansson.
It
Like
does.
that's
Yeah.
really good. Wow, like they do a really good job casting. And
I agree.
then my friend told me, she said, I heard that back in the day, so I don't know how long ago, whatever. She's like, I heard that Johnny Depp at Disneyland for his pirates, for Jack Sparrow would actually walk around Disneyland dressed up as him, like, and actually be him.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if that is true or if that did happen, or I heard that from somewhere else too.
Well,
Because
there's
yeah.
definitely a video out there of him doing that again to promo one of those movies where he's actually in the ride.
Oh, okay.
So he pops up, like, you go on that Pirates ride, and he's
Yeah.
his animatronic version is at different points throughout that ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a video, and like I said, I can't remember which movie it was for, but yeah, he was actually in the ride.
Yeah.
And so he would pop up, and then people are like, oh, it's actually him. So yeah, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah. So when she said that, I was, of course, I have a flashback to a few years ago, and I couldn't even tell you when, years ago, where I saw the character Jack Sparrow walking around, and I remember thinking, "Oh my god, that looks just like him. That looks just like that is such a good job." But I'm sure it wasn't. But they just do a really good job casting people to be like, that looks just like them.
They do.
Wow.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Yeah.
It's a fun place. It's a fun place. Yeah. Oh, so I'm sorry. So we got off track a little bit. So
Yeah. What else is new?
yeah, Guardians is your favorite over at California Adventure. What's your
Yeah.
favorite on the Disneyland side?
So it's a tie between okay. I'm actually a huge fan of Rise of the Resistance. That ride over at Star Wars Land. It
I haven't
is.
been on it.
Oh, you have to do it. It's not only it's an experience to be in line, and I don't know how else to explain it to you, but it is like, you're captured and you're being interrogated, and that, like, you feel like they tried to do their best to make you feel like you, like, are in the movie, and
Sure,
they do
sure.
the way that it's just the being in line in the ride is an experience. There's kind of like a little mini ride in the line too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's a way for them to lower you down to the basement part of the ride, right? Because they shut
Right.
the doors, and they're like, it's like a moving thing, and all of a sudden one of the doors opens and you're in a different room. Like, it's crazy, and it is just like they're acting like they're going to interrogate you. Like, it's just being in line is an experience, and the ride itself is really, really cool and really lifelike. So,
Interesting.
I mean, the old school rides like Indiana Jones and Space Mountain, those are I love those. I could I could all day. I love those rides.
Yeah.
But the Resistance, like I could also go on that one over and over again. Like that one was really, really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I didn't get a chance to do that. Obviously, like I said, the wait times were insane. Obviously, being with little kids, like our whole thing was, hey, like we're trying to experience this through their eyes. So we weren't, we were like, we know we're not going to go on a bunch of those rides because it's
Yeah.
just not going to work out. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. When you said that, like the early part, like in line, it's like as though you've been captured and you're being
Mhm.
interrogated. My mind automatically went to, I think if they saw you in line, you would be a handful to interrogate. You'd be a real problem. It's like, you know what? Maybe we don't need her. Maybe kick her off this one.
Definitely try to like get in trouble. No,
Yeah,
like they're in character, right? Like
sure,
they're like that's what I love about Disney too, is like most of the cast members who are like working the rides, like they're if it's like a popular movie turned into a ride or vice versa, like they're in character. And for Rise of the Resistance, they're so in character because they're interrogators, right? So they're kind of like mean, they're like very soldier like, they're
sure.
like get out, get in line. Like they're very like
Yeah,
me and Allie were like they told us to get on, like stand over here, get on this colored whatever, like this is your spot. And a group next to us, their interrogator told them to go this way, and me and Allie started to follow, and she's like, "Get back! I didn't say you could get like." It was just like they're because Disney's always like a nice, happy, jolly place, but
sure.
like
Not
they
there.
like their character is to be like their me. It was just great. I was like, oh my god, they're doing such a good job because I was like really felt like I was in trouble. They did a great job.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
It's a. I don't know anything about Star Wars, but that's a. They've done it. They did a good job with that area.
Yeah.
I actually kind of went around there because one of our daughters had fallen asleep, and so I was, I told Rachel and our oldest daughter to go, and they could go do stuff um, while our little one was sleeping. So I was pushing her around, and that was kind of the area that I ended up because they have those two massive tunnels that lead to that whole world.
Yeah.
It's perfect because in the middle of summer, a lot of shade there, so it was great. But yeah, so I had a chance to kind of walk through there and just kind of experience the whole thing. Yeah, it's a wild world that they've created. It's pretty cool.
It is a that part of Disneyland. Is a great addition that they've
Yeah,
done. It is so, and at night it is so cool.
yeah,
You feel like you're in a movie, a Star Wars movie.
sure, yeah,
It is awesome. Yeah. So
very
yeah,
cool.
very impressed. We had a great time. Definitely want to go back, obviously. So
Oh
at
yeah.
this rate, I'm going like every other year in
Oh,
like
there you
the
go. Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, no, our
yeah.
girls have mentioned that. It's like, well, it's gonna be a little while before we go. We can't just go every weekend.
Right.
But yeah, no, one, and I'm guessing that you didn't make your way over this way, but obviously with little kids, we spent some time in Toontown, which I've always loved Toontown. It's just a fun place. It's a fun place to kind of hang out and see what they do there. But especially through our daughter's eyes, it was cool. Especially they would get so excited with the characters and the little houses and all that stuff. But there was a ride over there that's fairly new. It's called Mickey's Runaway Railroad. That
Mhm.
was by far my favorite ride at Disneyland. Like we
Really?
love that ride so much. It's just super creative, and they use so many like different things and technology and things like that. Like it's a really cool ride. And so we went on that multiple times. And like you said, the line, it would always say, it was like, hey, it's like 45 minutes or an hour or an hour and a half. It was always, I mean,
That's
we were on the ride in less than 20 minutes. That was one of the pluses too. Like it was, especially during the summer, it's like it was cold. It was cool inside. You got on really quick. There was fun stuff to look at as you were in line. And then just the ride itself was really cool. Like our daughters love that one. We love that one. So that's my easily that took over as my favorite for sure.
I wish we had this conversation before I left because I have like that's a newer ride in quote for me. Like I've never been on it,
Yeah.
and we went to Two Town and
Yeah.
we did Roger Rabbit's because my friend she had never gone on that ride, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we got to go. Like we got to
Yeah.
do all the rides we haven't been on, and so because this was only her second time at Disneyland, so and then we saw like her friends that were there. They're like, oh, they're in the Mickey Mouse Railroad, and I'm like, what's in my head? I'm like, what is that? Like I've never been on it. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And so we didn't go on it. But now I'm like, ugh, why didn't we go on it? I've never been on it, and neither has
I
she. So
I
now
know. I
I
wish we would have. Yeah, I wish we would have chatted before this.
yeah.
Because yeah, it's like I said, it's really cool. And as far as a ride, it's very much like you're in like a train car, but then the whole thing breaks apart, and then you're in these separate cars. Just like I said,
Yeah.
the technology is crazy because some of those other rides you're on a track
Yeah.
and you're kind of going. This one, it's like again, I don't know what the technology is, but you're in a car with no track.
Okay, Rise of the Resistance is like that.
Sure,
It's
so the same thing. It's
crazy.
wild.
How are we what? Like my brain can't comprehend like it's like yeah, so okay, so I gotta go on the make on that one and you have to do Rise of the Resistance.
Yep, sounds like a good idea. Good plan.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
No, I
Yeah.
think yeah, well that's the thing too. It is interesting with again with kids. You have to start paying attention, especially like I mentioned before. I've always been on the taller side. My brothers are taller than me now. So we've all been tall. So my parents never really had to look at the height thing,
Yeah.
on rides.
Right.
Obviously with younger kids, you have to start looking at that. And so it does kind of change what you can
Yeah.
do and stuff like that. But next time we go, I'm sure that won't be an issue. So we'll probably be able to, it'll open up a whole new world of things. But
So the height thing, I'm like, how do they decide? Well, I mean, obviously they know safety wise how to decide who's tall. I'm telling you, on in line for it's not called California Screaming anymore. Sorry, I'm going back to when it first opened. It's called Incredicoaster. I saw the tiniest children on that ride, and I'm like, is what? I'm like, they're like 3 or 4. Is this safe? And
seems
apparently
crazy.
it was. I know. I was like, but anyway, but then I don't know. I look at little children and I'm like, no, you can't go on this ride. It's too dangerous. They're in line. Like, why is that kid in line? That kid's tiny. This ride is fast.
Yeah. Our oldest daughter would love it. She wasn't tall enough, but she would love it. She loved all the fast rides.
Oh, I love that.
And so yeah, it was fun seeing her experience all that. But can I tell you something? One of the pet peeves I have for not just Disneyland but any kind of theme park. And again, I'm just going to follow the rules. I'm not someone who's going to try to break the rules, but like especially with kids, it's crazy to me when you have these people, especially on social media, they'll give you these so-called hacks about how to get your undersized child on a ride by like stuffing their shoes or giving like it's like
No,
guys, this is like yeah, I'm sure this is gonna be great until your kid's decapitated, because something happened. Like this is for a reason. Just wait a couple years. But it's like everybody just feels like they know better and they can get. It's like well, if we stuff this kid's shoe
no.
with socks and they'll be high, like it just seems like such a dumb thing to me.
I already am like, look, I already think the height thing is not tall enough. I just feel, I'm like,
Sure,
get worried. I'm like, but
sure,
yeah, again, they have their system for a reason. But I'm just like, oh, this ride is going too fast for this kid. There's
yeah,
no way. Yeah, I get all worried.
yeah.
But
It's a bizarre thing to me. What about the? I know we're up against it as far as time, but what is? Do you like doing like the? Because one of my favorites and one of the ones I love doing, two of them, one on each side is the Buzz Lightyear ride, and then
mhm.
also the Woody's.
Mhm.
Uh, I can't remember the name of the ride.
Toy Story one, Toy Story Mania.
Yeah, Toy Story Mania. I love that one.
So okay, so those I love those game rides. So we didn't do the Buzz Lightyear one, but we did the Toy Story Mania one,
Yeah,
and then we did the Web Slinger one, the Spider Man one.
that's a
So
that's a bit of a workout.
oh my gosh, my arms were on fire.
Yeah,
I was like, I need to do more push ups. Like this, no, this is not okay. Like
yeah. I found out I am not a good Spider Man.
yeah, it's crazy. One thing I do appreciate about Disney is sorry, going back to children. I remember there was one year where we were in line for Pirates of the Caribbean, and someone in front of us had this child did not want to go on this ride.
Sure.
I don't know if they were cranky or scared or what, but this child was
Yeah.
screaming, and I don't know if it was the mom or aunt. I don't know who would grab like just put them on the ride and sat them next. It seemed like it seemed like she just wanted a break and wanted to just sit and be on that ride.
Yeah.
But the kid was screaming, and I was gonna go on the same boat. Like I was going on the same boat as them, and I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" I was like,
Jeez.
"Oh hell no!" Like and then the ride, the cast member wouldn't push the button to go forward. That she was just kind of staring and like waiting for the kid to calm down, and the
Oof.
kid wasn't calming down. And finally, she said, "Ma'am, you can't. I can't let you. This kid. You got to go."
Yeah.
if the kid doesn't want to be on a ride, it can't be screaming the whole time.
Sure.
No. So I felt bad for the lady, but she's like, okay, and she grabbed the kid and they got off the ride, and I was like, thank God, you are an angel. Thank you so much. Like, oh my God, I wanted to like kiss that girl. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, thank you for kicking them off. Like, it was like that was going to be a nightmare. Like, I already had a headache from it, and I felt bad. I was like, this kid is screaming. You're gonna have this kid on this 20-minute ride screaming the whole time.
Yeah. I mean,
So weird.
that's tough because you feel for the not knowing the situation, you feel for the parent until they sit down in that seat. And this is me coming from a parent's perspective. Like, you might, it's like, man, it's a tough situation. I don't know what's going on, but that's tough. And then once they make after all that's happening, and they make the decision to sit in the seat, regardless of the child that's losing their mind, at that point, my sympathy for the parent has gone out the window, because I'm like, well, you can't subject everybody to this. Like we've talked about this before on a plane. If you have a baby on a plane, it's the baby might cry. I'm not going to be mad at that person. Even when before kids, I wasn't going to be mad at that person because babies cry. It's just what happens. There's other situations where it's like, okay, you need to kind of think about what you're doing. You can't subject everybody on this plane to what you're doing because your kid lost their mind. And it's like in that situation, it's like, yeah, you need to take the L on that one and figure something out outside of the ride. But like, you can't do that to people that are also paying money to ride this ride. And
Right.
so, yeah, that's great that they did that, because that's insane. It's insane that she would sit down and think that, like, yeah, we're good.
Like, this is good. Yeah, this is okay. Well, and I'm like, do some parents like just kind of tune their kid out and then they're used to that? I don't know. I don't know. So I was about to.
They probably do, and that's when you end up with problems as a teacher. They start trying to tune you out.
Oh boy, right?
Just pass it along.
Yeah,
Who
but
knows? That could be a future student of yours.
I can only hope.
Yeah.
Uh, so fun. But yeah, but this was a really fun trip. Honestly, not really, like, no complaints really.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah,
Glad
it
you were
was.
able to go on that. And were you there? Last time I ask you, and then we can get out of here. But were you there on the Super Bowl day?
Um, we just were in downtown Disney on Super Bowl day.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Was it busy, or was it pretty calm
Um,
because of the Super Bowl?
so we got there in the morning so that we could have like breakfast and stuff. And there wasn't a ton of people, but it definitely picked up.
Interesting.
People were like flooding towards the parks.
Sure.
So I think there's enough people who don't care who will be like, nope, we're going to Disneyland. But
Yeah, that's probably
yeah,
a good time to go. It was a horrible game, so they
yeah,
would have had a better time at Disneyland for sure,
yeah.
instead of watching the game. So
Right. Instead of watching Taylor Swift's boyfriend lose.
yeah, yeah, not just lose, but really, really get slapped around.
Yeah,
It was a rough one to watch. It
yeah,
was not a fun game, especially as someone who's not a fan of either team.
right.
I was there for the
Exactly.
halftime show. That's pretty much it. So,
And I missed that too. So
so
was it
there
good?
you,
Or was
yeah, I
it?
enjoy. I mean, I think this could be a longer conversation. I think it was divisive. I think people, if you love hip hop, and I think if you love Kendrick Lamar,
Mhm.
you probably enjoy the show. I love his music. I love hip hop. So it was great. I think if you do not like hip hop, and if you're not a fan of his, you probably did not enjoy it very much. So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from different podcasts and things I've read about it. I think it's been a little divisive in that sense. You know what I mean? So it's not the same as when you bring out like I don't know, like a Katy Perry or Lady Gaga, or it's a different thing. But like I said, if you love hip hop, I think for the most part people were pretty pleased with it. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I think that's all
sounds
we've
good.
got. We're at an hour 3,
Catch up episode,
a
I
catch
think.
up episode. Yeah. Just seeing how life is. Nothing crazy this week. So uh next week we will have a guest, our first guest of 2025. Should be a fun one. He's a return guest. So make sure you guys tune in for that episode next week. And that's all we've got. Deb, where can they follow us on social media?
You guys can follow us on Twitter at Connectable Pod, and then all other social media platforms at Connectable Podcast, like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then subscribe on your favorite podcast app like Apple Podcast and Spotify, and also YouTube. We would love for you to subscribe to all those things, comment about what you like, what you don't like on the videos. We would appreciate that. And then if you could give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we would also appreciate that. It just helps us become more visible to people that are searching for new podcasts. So that would be awesome. And then, yeah, if there's ever anything that you guys are interested in hearing us talk about, we would love to hear. So you guys can always toss out ideas to us. You feel free to mention politics as much as you want. You're free to mention that. It's never going to happen. But if it makes you feel good to suggest it, then we're not going to stop you. But just know it's not going to be something that we talk about on here. But anything else, we would love to, get some ideas as far as what you guys want to hear. So that's all I've got for today. Deb, enjoy the rest of your week. You guys enjoy the rest of your week as well. And we will talk to you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.